Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and we've heard for the past year or so from Brexit supporters how WTO terms are absolutely fine for us. Bring it on, we'll be fine. Well, I'm afraid they're not likely to see for themselves just how bad that would be due to the imminent collapse of the WTO for all intents and purposes. And this, of course, is going to make a hard Brexit much worse. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, then please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. It's rather amusing in some ways. It's quite tragic in others, but you know the irony really of Brexiteers keep talking about the fact that the EU are going to collapse and the EU are going to break up, and I was saying in a stream earlier this week that's because they need this to happen. Everything they've said has turned out to be a sham since this Brexit thing started, and so they need it. They need it. It's the only thing that they think they will be able to vindicate their opinion on if it happens, and of course it's not going to happen. But whilst they have been fixating on the EU and looking for signs that it will fracture, the WTO, their safety net, actually is. Because with the Orange One's crusade against sanity in full swing, the United States are effectively trying to withdraw from the World Trade Organization. And given the prominence of the United States in international trade, this would effectively make the World Trade Organization irrelevant. In fact, it's not even just the US's position. They've been chipping away at it for some time. It was reported some time ago that the United States was blocking appointments onto panels, which of course was stopping them being able to do their work. And now the Director General of the WTO, Robert Azevedo, not pronouncing that correctly, I think. But anyway, he's quit, after the US blocked new appointments on the adjudication panel, which of course is the panel that is needed when you've got any international disputes. So Trump has been hamstringing the organisation for a while now and has now pushed it to the point of total collapse because, okay, this guy's quitting. Could they get another Director General? They could, but what if the US blocks, some of the people that might want to stand for such a position? And what this would essentially mean is that any international trade taking place outside of formal trade deals and agreements would not really be subject to any rules at all. It'll be proper Wild West frontier times. And don't get me wrong, WTO terms would have been a disaster for the UK. They are not even remotely all right. If they were, other countries would use them. But in actual fact, other countries, particularly with their closest trading partners, shun them. This is why the world is now full of trading blocs, because countries see that, there is such a benefit in being part of such a bloc. And, it would have been a disaster for the UK as it was, because we're leaving all of our trade agreements with most of our trade partners around the world. But they do provide some sort of framework to work with. It is actually better than nothing. It's why it exists, or it's why it sort of has existed up till now. But by January 2021, if there's nothing effectively left of the WTO, even if the organisation exists, if it has nothing it can do, if it can't carry out its work because the people who need to be appointed to various panels aren't there, then there'll be no rules at all effectively for a country without trade agreements. The rules, I suppose, will still exist, but no one will be. Not that the WTO really police them, but there is adjudication. There's the effectively court cases where they can say which country is in the right or the wrong. So countries will be free to whack whatever tariffs and quotas they like on British goods in order to protect their own producers as well as those of their trade partners. And this is important because we won't have any trade partners really, and in the context of a US trade deal, which is already extremely damaging for Britain, America will be able to turn the screw even more, because we will essentially sign up to whatever they put in front of us. It's quite clear we're already doing a lot of that anyway, because last week the government passed legislation that would be needed to allow for the US trade deal that the US proposed last year, And all these Brexit supporters keep saying, oh, no, that's just their proposals, that's their starting position, which normally would be true, But in actual fact, that is basically the deal, because we have started enacting legislation to allow for it. And there's more legislation out this week as well. And it's all designed to allow American firms to undercut or just straight up replace British firms in the British market. You know, and without even WTO terms, it's not even like we can hold on for a bit longer and try and get some crumbs from the US in our negotiations. You know, because we'll have dropped all the agreements we have around the world, because that's what I need to keep coming to. We have, when we end the transition period, we don't just end our trade agreements with the EU, which is damaging enough. It is by far and away our largest trading partner. But we lose loads of others as well, because we have trade agreements and trade deals with other major economies as a result of what was our membership and is now the transition period. All of those go away as well, including with the US. We have trade agreements with the US right now. We will not on the 1st of January 2021. And, you know, we'll take anything, any deal at all, no matter how bad it is, because the majority of people won't see how bad it is, and Johnson will get to hold up his piece of paper like Neville Chamberlain. And some might think that the presidential election could change this course. It won't. How could it? You know, the idea of pulling out of the World Trade Organization, apart from anything else, has support amongst both Republicans and Democrats. They both seem keen to pull the plug, you know, and I'm not going to comment too much on this because I don't have the level of expertise required. But I can easily imagine it's a situation where they think, well, do you know what? A Wild West situation doesn't actually harm us because we're such a powerful country. And we reckon we can hold our own in the ensuing global trade wars. And of course, it is the job of every American president, even the sane ones, if we can call Biden that, I mean, as a relative term, to get the best deal for America. So it doesn't matter, Biden or Trump, doesn't matter. The US trade deal will be truly dreadful for Britain because it will be really good for America, and Britain will not be able to have the strength to deny anything that America wants if we want our deal. Without WTO terms, we have no bargaining power at all in any trade negotiations with anyone because we have nothing to offer. As the safety net of international trade is being clumsily dismantled, it seems even crazier to dump over 90% of our international trade agreements, which is what we're planning to do on a single day. On one day, dropping them all, jettisoning the whole lot of them, apart from the very small number that we have agreed with, you know, without being disrespectful, very small economies with whom we do not trade that much. Because, you know, like I said, the transition period ends, all of those other trade agreements are gone. And onto that, the global trade is expected. I say expected, it is. It is absolutely going to drop massively as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Of course, that's inevitable. It's not just suspected, it's inevitable. And forging new trading opportunities will become all but impossible because countries already losing sales, you know, with their businesses not being able to export as much, are going to fall more heavily on their regional partners. There's no way an independent island nation is going to be able to suddenly increase its access to those much weakened markets. No way at all, because we'd be asking countries to favour us over their own manufacturers and over the manufacturers of the surrounding countries with whom they have close trade agreements. It's not happening. It won't be possible even. Because in the absence of a common trading framework, courtesy of the World Trade Organization, we are going to see, as I say, a world trade war looming. And we are in no man's land. Everyone's guns pointing at us. So I'll leave you that with cheery thought there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, then please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.